In this video, I want to talk about a recent huge shift in my consciousness and the insights that I got from this, because I think this can give you a little bit of a perspective of what you are working towards in your meditation session, how it might happen to you, how the experience might feel of awakening. And I will talk specifically about what it was that I was awakened to, so to speak, what this experience turned into. And so I want to give you a little bit of a background to what the situation was like and how, if you could say that, how it happened. And so it was 3 a.m. in the morning. I woke up during the middle of the night because I had to go to the toilet. I had to pee. And the moment I woke up, I already had a kind of strange feeling. I was very, very present because I woke up from a lucid dream. I was, during the dream, I knew that I was dreaming. And when I woke up, something felt off. I couldn't really put my finger down onto what it was that was feeling strange. But anyways, I went to the toilet. I go back to bed. I try to lie down, and this feeling just wouldn't go away. And I kind of felt my experience splitting in half, kind of. There was this one part that was just watching all of it and was staying very relaxed. And then there was also this part that was like, kind of, what is going on? Something is really strange. I don't know what it is, but it doesn't feel comfortable to this part of my experience. And while I'm watching this from this kind of other perspective, I watch this feeling kind of moving around in my body, in my emotional space, and I cannot really pin it down. I cannot really grab it and define what it is. And somehow this observer zooms out more and more, or fades into the background more and more. And at one point, I'm watching all of this, what's going on, and it feels so disorganized, so it feels so impossible to be free within this experience. I can see how all of these relationships, all of these experiences that are influencing each other, they are somehow just so unpeaceful compared to where I'm moving right now as the observer. And so it's at one point this observer just kind of disappears, but at the same time I am in this nothingness and I am this absolute, just watching what's going on, like having no real connection to it, but seeing that all of this, my whole life, has always been contained in this absolute. And it's really, I have to say it, this word is beautiful. It's nothingness. If I had to choose one word, it's pure conscious nothingness. It was so beautiful to be this non-existent, but still the ground of all of existence. It was really a really intense experience. And I stood up and I walked through my room and just sat down here on this couch where I'm sitting right now. And I had to capture the experience, and I wanted to record a video, and I haven't uploaded that video yet because I felt it wasn't of too much value, because you cannot see what is going on the inside, and the only thing that you can see from the video is how my mind tries to make sense of it and is really looking for words and has a lot of is very deeply into thinking about and trying to grab what's currently going on. And maybe I will upload this in the future, but I think now I can put it, that it has been 2 days ago, I can put it into a clearer perspective. And this experience just showed me what's possible and why actually meditation is such a beautiful exercise and is really the way to achieve this state. Because even though, and now I know this very deeply, you cannot do something to wake up to this truth of nothingness, so to speak, because it's futile. That's why all of these Zen koans speak in riddles. It's not possible. And at the same time, meditation is kind of the way to go there. It's something that you are doing inside of this experience and kind of trying to reach out of itself, to grab itself, but it's not possible. And so meditation is still beautiful because it contains and resembles so many of the aspects that I felt during this experience. I think when you are training your mind in meditation to be peaceful with everything and accept all experience and just remain present and focused most of the time, and the goal really is to prolong this experience, then in this exercise of meditation there is really, or in this practice of meditation, there really is contained many of the aspects and essence of this true nature of oneself, which is nothingness. And if you are experiencing nothingness, you will know at one point that it is kind of futile to meditate, because it's not possible to willingly and consciously push yourself to recognize this. But at the same time, I think it's doing something to allow for such an experience to arise spontaneously. And it did arise for me spontaneously. I wasn't meditating before or consciously choosing to have this awakening. It just happened. But I like to believe that a lot of the groundwork to allow for such an experience to arise was laid during my meditation practice all of these years. And so this is still something I highly recommend, not only for the personal benefit you get out of meditation and the emotional benefit that you are just more happy in your life, but also that true spiritual insight into the nature of reality can arise through this vehicle that you are, this human experience that you are having. And this was one of the other insights I really had in this experience, is you are, as this whole field of human experience, I mean not just your body, but what you experience as your human life, is just one of the infinite manifestations that this consciousness can take on. But when you are this conscious nothingness, you are absolutely free. And this felt so beautiful. It's so freeing. I didn't have to do anything anymore. Like during this experience, everything was just flowing. There was no difference between inside and outside the thinking mind. I had to laugh because I could really see how this distinguish, or this barrier and this border we draw between the inside and the outside is really totally arbitrary. There is no real fundamental aspect to this experience that would make it that the inside is our own and the outside is something fundamentally different. Like we used to believe that thoughts are fundamentally different from objects, for example. but it's just a different quality of the same expression, of the same experience. And being in this nothingness is really not in. You are not separate from it. It's just this consciousness where everything is arising in. But in that experience, it's so far removed from even when you are just calmly sitting in meditation. It's so peaceful. It's infinitely beautiful. It's crazy to describe nothingness as loving beauty, but that's what it is. It has no. I couldn't put any words onto it. You could throw everything at it, but nothing would stick. But this is what makes it so beautiful. It's so pure. It's so empty. It's so conscious. It's so. That's what makes it so beautiful. It's like when you are having a rough diamond and you make it and you polish it so it's so clear and so beautiful that you would say this is like a very beautiful, pure manifestation of matter into this diamond. But on all levels, infinitely more beautiful is what you truly are, this nothingness. And when you experience it, it's I don't know, it's so, the love and appreciation for it goes so deep. It's really amazing to discover that this is your true self. And how do I know that this is not just a temporary error in my perception or in my brain's function? Whatever you may want to call it, like on a biological level, when you have this experience, it's just inherently clear that it is of a higher order, a higher magnitude, like an experience so rich that even if ordinary consciousness would describe it as malfunctioning, you would still appreciate it as a beautiful aspect of this existence, whether you wanted to call it higher consciousness, emptiness, absolute, whatever. It's just revealing an aspect of this whole existence, of yourself, of God, that is just infinitely beautiful. And I think it's a basic, a very basic, or maybe even the most basic quality that existence has. But from that arises also the complexity of life. And that's the other thing that I was able to perceive from that viewpoint, is how difficult it actually is to live as a human being, to exist compared to this beautiful absolute. Like all of these, how complex life is, like just what the things you're doing in your daily life just to survive, to work, to go to work, to feed your family, whatever it is that like you are concerned with. It's to live that from this absolute viewpoint would be beautiful, because you would just be in this presence all the time and very and it would just flow. But if you are not, and if you are regularly identified with your ego, compared to that, it's really, really difficult. And I can see now why enlightenment, permanent enlightenment even, is regarded as the highest human potential. Like nothing would compare to that. It's like worth every hour that you meditate, if you even experience that once, or maybe even permanently. Yeah. That's just what I wanted to share. to give you kind of a first-hand insight into what an awakening experience could be like for you, and to expect maybe even some fear and some rejection. Somehow, in my experience, maybe I was lucky. I was able to separate from that fear that was arising, because this part that was like identified with this feeling that something is strange and it isn't in control anymore. Yeah, really, that's what it is about. I had the thought like, okay, something is off and I cannot control it. And this part, if you identify with it and fight this experience, and you are not letting go and go with this and really go deep into this nothingness, then I think it can be a really difficult experience, to say it softly. So I hope with this video I give you some motivation to continue your practice. And I know for me as well, it has been many years of practice without these major awakenings. And I was even doubting myself, is it possible? Because before I had only a few awakenings during lucid dreams and during psychedelic trips. But these are qualitatively very different from this kind of awakening, and I might go into that in more details in the future, now that I have real waking consciousness experience of this kind of nothingness awakening. And yeah, there was in this nothingness, of course, also the knowing of, and this is something I experienced a lot many times before, is the non-dual experience, where you see that the field of experience is arising in the absolute as a non-dual field. There's no distinction between any objects, between inside and outside, between self and other. That's kind of one level above. You can have those insights as well, and when you first have them, they are very, very challenging as well, but nonetheless very insightful into the nature of reality. So I hope this gives you some motivation to continue your practice, meditation. If you have any questions, if you want guidance in your practice, maybe just someone to follow up with you on your practice, give you some hints, tips and tricks, where you can go, what you can do in meditation if you reach a sticking point, please feel free to reach out to me. You can contact me through the contact form on my website. The link is in the description. And really feel free. You can have one free session with me. We just talk on the phone or on Skype through a video call, where we can just go over your current situation and see if this longer-term coaching relationship would be something of worth to you. And yeah, with this being said, thank you for watching and see you in the next video. Goodbye.